Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at a band called Borealis, a band I've not heard of before, so obviously I did my research and I found a fair amount, to be honest. What I found is Borealis is a Canadian power/progressive metal band from Orangeville, Ontario. Their music features soaring vocals and a focus on guitar riffs as well as a bass-heavy backing rhythm. Their sound is likened to more melodic realms of power metal. However, with each successive album, they have introduced more progressive elements into the mix. Their first album was recorded in light of a very well-received opening performance for Sonata Arctica, so I've got some sort of idea where we're going with the musical style here. In an interview, the band explained where the origin of their name came from. Apparently they were all hanging out one evening and the northern lights, the Aurora Borealis, were up in the sky to be seen, and they thought, that would be a cool name for a band, but the fact that there was already a successful band called Aurora Borealis, they just decided to shorten it to Borealis. Now, when the band originally formed in 2005, they had a female operatic singer, sort of a la Nightwish sort of thing, called Siobhan O'Brien. And in 2006, they recorded a demo called Eyes of a Dream, but then Siobhan left. So one of the male members of the band became the vocalist in 2007, and they carried on from there. 2008 marked the release of their first album, The World of Silence. Then they released a second album in 2011, so they've had about a 3-year gap there. And then in 2015 they released the third album, Purgatory, which is the album which the track I'm going to look at today comes from. And the track itself is called Welcome to Eternity. So the fact that they've opened for Sonata Arctica kind of gives me a rough idea what to expect, but you can never be too sure, because sometimes sometimes opening acts can be slightly different. Yes, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. So I think we'll get to it. I've been going on for nearly 3 minutes. So this is Welcome to Eternity by Borealis. Let's have a look. I'm not sure what to make of this. I'm not sure I would have called this power metal myself. I sort of more associate power metal more along the lines of things like Manowar and like sort of earlier Blind Guardian. But I'm not sure I would have called this power metal myself, but that's just me. Of course, you know, pretty heavy. You know, music towards it's pretty good. And the vocal style, for some reason, just reminds me ever so slightly. There's just something in there that reminds me ever so slightly of Sentenced. I'm not sure what it is, though. But, it's interesting. Now, the song itself, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it could possibly be talking about... It could be talking about death, for all I know. I'm not entirely sure. It says, I sit amongst the sick and dying, fight the urge to see, embrace the dark head, I can't escape the screams and crying, this isn't what I wanted. My only goal to see your face, feel your warmth again, to be wrapped into your embrace, trapped without an end. Welcome to eternity, where I lose my faith and lost reality. I'll fight for my revenge. The sun shall never greet my eyes. So, it almost sounds like he's stuck in purgatory or possibly in hell. I mean, he's saying he sits amongst the sick and dying. He can't escape the screams and the crying. You know, he embraces the dark ahead. All he wants to do is see their face and feel their warmth again, to be wrapped in their embrace. He is trapped without an end. Welcome to eternity, where I lose my faith and lost reality. You know, so it sounds like he's... I mean, he might not necessarily be dead or something, but he feels trapped in some horrible place, like possibly purgatory or something along those lines. And it says, welcome to eternity, so he's trapped there forever. You know, he's never getting out. So I'm not entirely sure what it is, but yes. Yeah, we'll get back on with the song and see what happens.
Final choice. You thought
we go. Welcome to Eternity by Borealis. Well, let's look at the rest of the song before I go into anything else. It says, looking up as I descend, the heat burns, the light is growing dimmer now, no sound, no light, nothing, you've made your final choice. You thought you'd have it all when you crossed into this world. Welcome to eternity, where I lose my faith and lost reality. I'll fight for my revenge, and the sun never greets my eyes again. There you go. Now, there's a line there, looking up as I descend, the heat burns. That's almost purely symbolic of a descent into hell or something like that, you know, obviously with hell being the hot place and downwards. So I'm not sure if that's what it's about, but it seems to be sort of edging that way, but there's no sort of clearly defined statement that says that this is what the song is about. Musically, I really liked it. I thought it was a fantastic piece of music. Lyrically, I'm not really that fond of it, to be honest. And vocally, you know, the guy obviously has a decent voice, but I don't know, the song itself just didn't do anything for me. Like, the music was great, but the actual vocal performance and the lyrical performance just really didn't do anything for me. I'm not sure why. It just... The skill of the vocalist and the skill of the music just don't seem to be quite on the same level, if that makes any sense. But that's just my personal opinion. And again, as I've said many times before, I'm not going to judge a band by one example of their work. You know, this might be an outlier of a track. Other tracks of theirs might be absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, I'd have to check out something else of theirs at some point. But this specific track, I'm not, you know, I don't hate it, but I'm not particularly blown away by it either. You know, it's not a fantastic piece of music. It's okay. You know, I could happily have this on in the background, you know, and not be too fussed about it. But it's not something I would actively go out of my way to listen to. So, you know. But then, you know, not every track I listen to can be winners. Everybody's got a different taste in music. You know, if we all like the same music, you know, it'd be incredibly boring because all music would be exactly the same. So, you know, variation is a good thing. So, yeah, I will have to check out something of theirs another time. I would have been interested to hear that the track that they did with the operatic female vocalist. And again, I wouldn't have said they were power metal. You know, they're more just sort of almost general heavy metal in my sort of opinion. You know, as I said before, power metal is more sort of like Manowar, Dragon Force, you know, early Blind Guardian sort of thing. This didn't seem to match that style. But then again, maybe their other tracks do. Maybe this is, like I said, an outlier of a track which is slightly different from their usual. It'll have to be seen. But I'll leave that as it is for now. If anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. Drop a comment in the comment section below, or you can message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me on my Patreon, should you wish to try and help support me, to help me make these videos. You know, that'd be brilliant, obviously. You know, but do know, if you suggest a track, it'll probably take me a while to get around to it, because, you know, I get suggested so many tracks every single day. You know, I can't keep up with the list. You know, for every one video I record, I get suggested a dozen more. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it will get done eventually. It's just going to take me a while to get to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. They are a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, specifically those aimed towards the alternative community, who listen to alternative music or wear alternative fashion. Something that I think is very worthwhile and definitely needs more attention bringing to it, because every day we hear about all these other hate crimes, on the news and social media. You hear about sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, those sorts of things. We hear about those every single day. But what we don't hear enough about is these people who are getting violently attacked, severely beaten and brutalised and hospitalised just because they listen to alternative music, or just because they're wearing, like, a band t-shirt from a heavy metal band. It makes no sense that this is going on. It doesn't happen with any other style of music. People who listen to classical music, people who listen to Neil Diamond or bloody stuff like that, none of these people get attacked. It only seems to happen to people of the alternative culture, and I can't understand it. Because, why specifically target that genre of music? What is the problem? We're not harming anybody by listening to the music, just because we dress differently and listen to different music. Why does that make us a target? You don't beat someone up because they like different TV shows to you or different movies to you, do you? So why would you beat someone up because they like different music to you? It makes no sense. But the thing is, this is happening every single day, and people are getting really badly hurt. And that by itself is ridiculous. But when we get to the point where a young woman is killed because of her taste in music, things have gone way too far. Things have got out of hand. A young woman and her boyfriend were jumped by a group of youths whilst they were walking home, and they were beaten so severely that the girl died. The boyfriend, thankfully he survived, but the young woman, Sophie Lancaster, she was beaten so badly that she died. Just because she listened to alternative music, just because she dressed in alternative fashion. Now, the people that attacked her, they didn't know her. She was a lovely, lovely person. She would speak to anybody. Earlier in the day, she was speaking to a similar group of people. They listened to more mainstream popular music, but she was still talking to them, having a bit of a laugh. But this group, just because they didn't like the way she was dressed, just because she listened to alternative music, thought it was an okay thing to attack her, and essentially, they murdered her. And this is unacceptable. This needs to stop. But these sort of attacks happen every single day. I myself have been attacked multiple occasions just because I listen to alternative music, just because of the clothes I wear. And it's happened to many of my friends, and I know it's happened to some of you watching. It's unacceptable, and it needs to stop. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is trying to do. They're trying to put a stop to this. They don't want to see anybody else have to go through what they went through when Sophie Lancaster was so brutally attacked. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can pop over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their goal is, because they can describe it and explain it so much better than I can. And if you can help them in any small way, even if it's something as simple as, one of these wristbands. They've got tons of other merchandise. But if you can help them in any small way, the smallest amount makes the biggest difference. And the sooner we can bring more attention to this, the sooner we can stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But we'll leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.